Hello, my name is Stubidubins, and I simulated every possible combination of Pokemon 1v1s in the game. That is over 500,000 unique battles. In this one, I'm going to go over the top 10 in win percentage of those battles for Gen 2 mons only. My methodology is in the description. Leave me your guesses on who you think will be in the top 10, and let's get started. At number 10, I have Skarmory. Skarm ended with a 74.3% win percentage, which is good for 162nd overall. I recently did a math-based ranking on each type combination and Steel Flying and did 73rd offensively and 2nd defensively. With that type combination and its defensive stats, it's just going to sit on most physical attackers, so this ranking does not surprise me. At number 9, I have Celebi. Celebi had a 74.5 win percentage, which was 159th overall. Grass Psychics, honestly, is one of the worst typings in the game, and finished 117th offensively and 3rd to last defensively, right above Rock Ice and Ice Grass. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know why this thing is this high on this list, but I guess its stats are good enough that it doesn't really matter. At number 8, I have another confounding pick in Mantine. Mantine also had a 74.5 win percentage, which was good for 158 overall. Water Flying was 50th defensively and 20th offensively. In my Gen 1 version of this video, Gyarados ended up ranked much higher than I expected, and I think a big reason why is Water Flying is a top 3rd type both offensively and defensively, and having a 100 matchup into ground types doesn't hurt either. At number 7, I have Tyranitar. Tyranitar also had a 74.5 win percentage and was 157 overall. Rock Dark ranked 154th defensively and 52nd offensively. I didn't include abilities, but if I did, the special defense boost and chip from Sandstream would have definitely boosted the win percentage by at least a few points. Also, it essentially loses to every fighting type, which makes up 7% of the dex, and it is a travesty that it is dark rock and not ground rock. At number 6, I have Suicune. Suicune ended up with a 75.4 win percentage, which was 144th overall. Monotypes don't fare well in my rankings, so Water ranked 151st offensively and 91st defensively. So honestly, a surprising amount of Gen 2 mons on this list that remain at least semi-viable to this day. At number 5, I have Raikou, which had a 77.4 win percentage, which was 122nd overall. Mono Electric was 169th offensively and 72nd defensively. Raikou reaches the 115 speed tier, which is really great. Has solid bulk and at least okay attacking stat. However, it does lose to essentially every ground type, which makes up 7.5% of the dex. At number 4, I have Kingdra. Kingdra has a win percentage of 78.2%, which was 112 overall. Shout out John Halo. Water Dragon ranks 74th offensively and 69 nice defensively. I think Dragon Water is a deceptively good typing. It hits all but 14 mons for at least neutral damage, and it only really loses to fairy types and has a neutral matchup at best versus other dragons. That plus its not bad defensive stats, I think wills it into a lot of wins where you didn't necessarily think it would. I think not having a 0-100 matchup against any type is really beneficial because you're essentially taking off, like, say, 8% of the decks that you're never beating, and you have a much higher cap that you can reach. At number 3, I have Scizor. Scizor has a 79.1 win percentage, which is good for 98th overall. Steel Bug was 114th offensively and 12th defensively. I think if you had to pick a stat distribution and only had 500 base stat total, I think Scizor is what you would pick, especially since Scizor has priority and you don't need speed as much. Also, having Deceptive Bulk and one of the best defensive typings in the game doesn't hurt either. But like I said, losing to every fire type kind of proves my point. It has a lower cap that something like Kingdra would have. At number 2, I have Lugia. Lugia finished with a 86.4 win percentage, which was 39th overall. Flying Psychic was 101st offensively and 102nd defensively. Lugia has Toxapex level defenses and really good speed, but a bottom tier typing and kind of bad attacking stats, stop Lugia from getting into the upper echelons of legendaries. Before I get to number 1, I want to mention the ranks of the starters. For Alligator was 18th, Typhlosion was 21st, and Meganium was all the way at 42nd for Gen 2. Also, the worst mon in this generation was Sentret with a 2.5 win percentage, good for 1023rd overall. And number 1, I have Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh is what Lugia wishes it was, and it ended up with a 88.2% win percentage, which was good for 24th overall. Flyer Flying ranked 61st offensively and 35th defensively. Ho-Oh wins most fights against special attackers and has a actually respectable attacking stat. What stops this from climbing even higher is losing to every rock type, which are mainly physical attackers, which Ho-Oh is just fine at defending against. Also, rock resists both flying and fire, which definitely doesn't help. Rock types make up 7.6% of the decks, and Ho-Oh still getting this high, even though that's true, is insane to me. So that's my Gen 2 list. I'm going to continue with this series ranking every generation, so if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe. Thank you, and goodbye.